This is the real deal. A 1979 vintage Overdrive Pro TS808, the holy grail of Ibanez Tube Screamers. And this is a brand new TS808 Handwired version 2. Now, one of these is more expensive than my first car. The other one is available in lots of music shops. The big question is, can you actually hear a difference? The TS808 is the most copied overdrive in guitar history. The original came out in the late 70s, made by Maxon for Ibanez. People talk about the JRC 4558D op amp like it was blessed by the tone gods themselves. Prices? The vintage Holy Grail version can go from anywhere up to 1,500 to 2,000 notes, and the Handwired version is around 300. Both pedals use the same basic circuit, but the Handwired model has modern hand wiring, true bypass, and slightly different component tolerances. So is all that extra cash for this just mojo tax? Or does it sound better than this brand new Handwired, which in itself is not cheap? Let's plug them in and find out. Here's the same riff through both pedals, knobs set at noon, played through the Marshall JTM Studio, set fairly clean. Which Tube Screamer is which? Let your ears decide. That might give you a big clue. If you don't know yet, let's switch to something with humbuckers to see if that gives it away. All right, that's two guitars, 4 tones, and all of them feel really fun to play. If you said pedal number 1 was the vintage Tube Screamer, you'd be wrong. Pedal number 1 is the new Handwired, pedal 2 is the vintage. And maybe if you go back and listen again, if you got it wrong, the vintage one has less output when all knobs are at 12. And I've set knobs at 12 because that's kind of an industry standard, but I don't really believe in having knobs at 12 expecting to have a good shootout. And that's because even having 2 pedals from the same batch and setting them at noon might not elicit the same tones because of pot tolerances. If this was serial number 1, serial number 2 might sound the same in that position because pots are different. So this is kind of ridiculous. But we have to start somewhere, and maybe a better question is, which one did you prefer so far? Don't have to write it in the comments yet. Keep a little mental note, and we'll do that all at the end, maybe. Right, let me quickly explain my pedal board in case you're not sure what I'm doing. This is the switchback from JHS pedals, and this is where my signal comes in from my guitar, and it goes out there to the amp. We've got 2 loops in here, so send 1 is going to the input of the new Handwired, and it's coming out of there to return 1. And then send 2 is going to the input of the vintage Tube Screamer, coming out of the output and going to return 2. And I've got a foot switch down here, and using that, I can switch between the 2. So there you'd be hearing the new one, and there you're hearing the vintage. So now that's done, I'm going to switch back to the single coil and try and match the pedals to get exactly the same tone from both. So we know that this one has more output, so we'll drop the level on that to try and match the vintage. I would actually prefer to be a bit louder, so I'm going to bump up the volume of this and switch over to that and get a favourite tone from this first. Overcooked it. Right, that's something that I'd like to recreate with the Handwired and hopefully achieve. That is pretty darn close. I certainly couldn't pick one out against the other. This one's got a little bit more drive, so let's just pump up the drive on that a bit. There is a tone difference. The Handwired seems to be a bit more meatier, a bit more bassier. Even forgetting the tone knob, the tone is giving us more tops, more clarity. But the Handwired version is giving us a bit more beef, for want of a better word. We can use that, right? There's more balls, more of those adjectives that no one really knows what they mean. Well, we do know what they mean, but they're overused. Okay, I have a preferred tone. I'm not sure which one it... No, I do know which one it is. I shall save it for the end of the video, of course. So for me, these tones are now matched at this gain level. Now it feels like this one has more drive, and this one's clearer. Now I feel it's gone the other way. There is definitely more clarity in the Handwired, so I'm going to drop it down on the tone a bit. Again, just trying to match it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get much closer because there is more beef with the Handwired version, and the vintage one sounds softer, for want of a better term. And I should turn them both off just to give you the sound of the amp on its own. This is now both pedals turned off. Right, so that's the clean one. It's not perfectly clean, not Fender clean, but let's switch over to the Fender and get some Fender cleans. Let's kick back in at both pedals and do another blind test. Let's switch it randomly. There we go. I guessed it then blindly, and I got it wrong. The second one was the vintage, and I really thought it was the other way around. Ah, what a rabbit hole. Oh my goodness. I swore I would never do a Tube Screamer video. And in the 8 years that I've been, more than 8 years that I've been running this channel, I haven't. This is the first Tube Screamer video ever. And back when I started, everyone was doing Tube Screamer videos, which is why I avoided them. But I'm really glad I did this. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying the tones, and I'm surprised a lot of the time. Let's see how far they go in terms of gain now. And I'll do some looping on my loop pedal and then do some knob twiddling. I didn't push the tone up as high as it goes because it was starting to hurt my ears. But through a clean amp, this is where I think a lot of people misuse Tube Screamers. Like, as a drive, it doesn't go that far in the gain territory. It definitely sounded better for me through that Marshall because the Marshall was a bit more crunchy. And I've learned something today. I think I've avoided Tube Screamers for a long time, possibly because of that. It's a memory of mine. Thank you, Marshall. You've saved the Tube Screamer world for me. Because of that, I'm going to go back through the Marshall because I think I'm going to get better or more pleasing results to my ear. I want to see how far it goes on that amp. I know what I said earlier about knobs being at 12 being useless, but I do think the sweet spot of each pedal is around the sort of noon-ish area, you know, sort of in between there and there. And what's interesting is that the overdrive doesn't really affect the level that much, in the sense that on other drives I've demoed, when you've pushed drive, you really had to back off the level. That's not the case with either of these pedals. And I don't know if you find that interesting, but I certainly do. I'm having a whole world of education. I have a favorite of these two pedals, and I'll let you know, of course, in a moment, but I would be doing a disservice if I didn't take these two apart to have a look at the circuits inside. And I know that's super geeky, but that's what we do on this channel. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed, then click subscribe, please. Let's crack these open. Let's do Handwired first. See what sort of... Oh, that is... Am I wrong to say that's a bit sexy? Look at that inside there. That is absolutely gorgeous. So we've got turret point-to-point, hand-wired in Japan. I didn't know that there was a connector for battery, which I will probably never use, but it's useful to know it's there. Very modern looking, but still somehow vintage. Speaking of vintage, what's going to be inside you? Oh, a battery. Okay, that is a battery from... when? Oh, it expires in 2025, so That needs to be changed out pretty soon. There's dirt. It feels all scummy and dirty. It looks vintage. I don't know, what's that? Oh, that's a little cubby for the circuit. Oh, isn't that cute? That is insulating. And there is the board. That is old school. So there's our vintage, and it does look super cool. I'm not electronically minded enough to be able to actually tell you if it's the same circuit. If you are, please drop a comment. I mean, at the moment, I was just counting how many blue ones there were, thinking there's more in the vintage. Yeah, I just kind of play the things, and I can use a screwdriver, and I can build them with a guide, but I don't really know what's going on most of the time. Now, looking at it, I can't actually say if this is entirely original circuit. It is over 40 years old. It's older than I am, and yeah, things could have been done. So if you see anything wildly different, let us know in the comments again. I'll take my finger away so you can screenshot it maybe. But one final look at the insides close up. There's the vintage, and there's the Handwired. And they're both kind of beautiful in their own way, right? Yeah. All right, I think it's time I answer the question I asked at the beginning of this video. Can you tell the difference between a vintage tube screamer that costs a heck of a lot of money on the used market or a brand new hand-wired version that could be the best that Ibanez have to offer at the moment? At the beginning of the video, or the beginning of the demo of my playing, I could definitely pick this out, and I heard a big difference. And then as I got into it, I started to hear more similarities, and I must say that this gets darn close. And there were points in the playing where I didn't know which pedal I was playing, and I was switching between the two, and it's not like a tube screamer is a tube screamer is a tube screamer, but that gets really close. So let me know what you think. Could you tell the difference at all points of this video? Be honest, and I'm really curious, and I'll maybe, you know, count them all up and tally them and do some sort of community post to see what happens. Let's talk about preferences. At the beginning of the video, I definitely preferred this. There's a mojo thing going on. I felt like when I hold this, when I smell it, there's rock and roll, there's blues, there's all sorts of things going on with this pedal that makes my tone magical. And this just seemed a bit posh, if I'm honest, and a bit of an imposter. And then through playing it, I realized that, yeah, they're so close sonically that I'd be dumb to go out and buy a used one of this, and I think you would be as well, whereas you can get most of it from this and just EQ out a little bit of that beef if you want to, if that's what you want, or if that doesn't have the beef that you want, that's got it in spades. So it makes sense to buy this one, not this one, which is great because that's really, really a lot of money. However, with that information that I've decided with my own experience, that is the sensible choice. So why is it that I still want to buy this because it feels something special? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with guitar players, generally speaking? That's the sensible choice. I want both, and I don't want to give this back. Right, thank you to my friends at Ibanez Germany for lending me this and sending this out to compare. I will bring this back very, very soon, I promise. There are links to both of these products down in the video description and first comment should you want to buy one. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video and have subscribed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!